Welcome to the Gritcast, where we get into the nitty-gritty of all things hockey. From the East to the West Coast. Here are your hosts, Matt Pierce, Nikosh Ganguly, and Darius Dominguez.
Playoffs. They're here, technically. Not all the matchups are set yet. We still have we're recording this Friday afternoon, but we're gonna talk about what we can because nobody wants to record a podcast on a weekend. So today, I'm actually taking a little back seat on the podcast today. Side of my fellow co-host Darius, Matt. First of all, how are we doing today, fellas? Hot as hell nowadays. How are we doing today?
Not so hot here, but we're in the hot seats today.
Oh, nice.
Playoff time.
Nice segment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go work.
82 up, 82 down. I am ready for playoff hockey. Get the towels out, wave them. It's go time. Let's go.
Let's go, fellas. Let's get it. It's time. Darius, how are you feeling? It's been hot as hell in Ontario, the GTA, Toronto. The air conditioning is not on in my building. It's 30 degrees inside my apartment.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, yeah. It's
30 degrees yesterday, bro. I'm ready for playoffs. Although it was kind of weird that we went from straight up winter to summer in like 4 days. That was interesting, but we're here and we're ready for playoffs, baby.
Well, I think the weather changing really begs the question if climate change is real.
No, it doesn't exist. I saw it on Facebook.
Like personally, I've been a climate change denier my whole life. But recent events have really shown me that climate change might be real. I don't know though. I'll check Facebook later. But so, fellas, today we will get into our playoff preview, the most hyped episode of the year, aside from the team preview before going into the season, of course. So I'm pretty hyped, fellas. I'm ready to get into this. It's the best time of year. I don't care about Christmas. My birthday, once you become 18 and you're a man, your birthday doesn't matter anyway. So let's get right into it, fellas. So, first things first, we will break down the Western Conference. Let me throw it to Matt. Matt, what's the first matchup we're talking about today?
All right, we're looking at the Winnipeg Jets against the Vegas Golden Knights, a rematch of the 2018 Conference Finals. But this time, I think the results were reversed. I think Winnipeg takes this one. Let's go into the team breakdown. Winnipeg.
Whoa!
When you started off
Winnipeg,
with a hot take like that?
With a hot take? Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, all Winnipeg needs is Connor Hellebuyck to go, God mode in this series. You got Josh Norrisy. He's kind of cooled off a bit since his Josh Norrisy campaign at the beginning of the year. Not so much there, and it all depends on if I have this in the notes here. If the big egos of the Winnipeg Jets sort of want to get back into their winning ways that they had about 5 years ago, and aside from that, the Jets, they're the Jets. All they need is Hellebuyck, and I think he will carry them to a series victory. On the other side, the Vegas Golden Knights, a bit of a worrisome goaltending situation. Not too sure on the timeline of Logan Thompson, and they're currently running with Laurent Brossoit and Jonathan Quick. Not so quick anymore. The obvious pun is there. Jack Eichel, his first playoff action of his career.
I'm so hyped.
8 years in.
I'm
excited for this too. And I'm looking at some unlikely heroes that'll step up for the Knights if they want to get past the Jets, like Ivan Barbashev. And let's see if William Karlsson can get back to his 2018 magic once again. I think he will. With a better supporting cast this time, it's not just him and like Marchessault. And there's also the
James
blue
Neal.
line.
And
James
Neal.
the real deal. The real deal, James Neal.
Don't forget James Neal. Yep.
Yeah, and then the blue line, that's the only area where I take Vegas over Winnipeg.
Okay. I will say, the Jets fell off so quickly, but I think there is some nuance to that because when you look at them, there was a point in time in the NHL for the first half of the season where they were very, very good. And you can take that into consideration. You take the good with the bad. When you're looking at a squad, and offensively gifted, Darius knows all about Kyle Connor. You got Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Pierre-Luc Dubois had a good season. Nikolai Ehlers, if he plays more than 13 minutes a night, like that's gonna be a solid team. They didn't really add at the deadline. They brought in Vlad Namestnikov. See, my thing was I was gonna go on Daily Faceoff and look at the lines, but it is useless because it is based on the lines where no one's playing. Yep. So but I liked it. I like the Jets. My thing is with the Jets is like they're a tough team to watch. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, Matt, I can agree with you. Their forward depth, probably a little better. But if everyone's healthy on Vegas, I don't know how you Mark Stone is a big question mark, of course. It looks like a couple signs are pointing him to playing game one. Surprise, surprise, right? But then again, the guy's coming off back surgery. He's been injured a lot, but Mark Stone is a good player. Jack Eichel, we don't know what he's going to be like in the playoffs. Maybe he reaches a level we've never seen before. And then we're looking at Jonathan Marchessault, Riley Smith, William Karlsson, a lot of guys down there on defense. I think Shea Theodore is an X factor in this series. When you look deep down there, defensive court, also they have Alex Pietrangelo. Sometimes that guy gets lost in the wind in that Vegas team. But I like Vegas. I like Winnipeg too. But Darius, what do you think, man? I think it's one of the most interesting first round series.
It's definitely one of the most interesting in the league. But I think, to your point that you started with, I think the Winnipeg Jets, like, the NHL is a league of what have you done for me lately, and they started great. Like, they were first in the Central, and they had a really good first half. But they haven't held onto that at all. Like, they looked like terrible at times. So I really don't know how they match up against Vegas, to be honest. I think there are things like Matt mentioned that, Winnipeg might have the edge over, like goaltending. Obviously, most series they would have the edge in goaltending, right? But like we've never seen playoff Jack Eichel. We've never seen that. That's a wild card, and I'm really excited to see that because it's been way overdue. But to make it short and sweet, if I'm gonna pick a team, I think it's Vegas. They're a good team, obviously, and Winnipeg they haven't had it lately. They not consistently at least. So I just don't see it unless they get goalied 4 times out of 7. But really, I think Vegas is better than that.
Yeah, and I really like. I think Vegas is just I think their system is in place better. Rather. Vegas is really good, man.
They're a well-constructed team for their style.
Of course, and I'm just trying to look up their some statistics here. They've had the goals for per game, 3.26. That's decent. Goals against per game, 2.74. A little bit of that, and a little bit of this, but power play percentage 20%. Pretty league average, not too bad. I like Vegas this year. Their save percentage at 5-on-5, 9.27. That's pretty good. And league average is 9.20 at 5v5, which I don't know how they take that to now because it seems like save percentage is down around the league. But I like Vegas. They're deep. They have some X factors like a guy like Pavel Dorofeyev. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He's 22 years old, young guy coming into the league. He's been up and down the lineup this year. He's only played 18 games, but 9 points in those 18 games. 7 of those are goals. So a decent player. I like Vegas, man. I think they're back. They missed the playoffs last year. They're back. I think they're hungry. I think Eichel was pissed that he got traded and still missed the playoffs. If I had to pick games, I'm taking the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 games. What about you guys? Official prediction.
Vegas in 6. I'm gonna go with Winnipeg in 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Vegas in 7 just for the LOLs.
I think this series, it goes deep because there's a lot of stuff at play here. So so our picks, 2 of us are going Vegas, me and Darius, and Matt is going with his hometown Winnipeg Jets.
And also, fellas, 4 years. It's been 4 years since the Winnipeg whiteout with a full capacity crowd. I'm not one for the Jets, but that's one of the coolest things in sports when it comes to, playoff fan traditions.
All right, Matt, what is the next series you wanted to dive into here?
All right, let's go with the only other Western Conference series that's confirmed, and it's my Edmonton Oilers against the Los Angeles Kings. Another rematch of last year's first round with Edmonton taking that one in 7, which was the closest series I probably ever seen the Oilers play. On the other side, let's break down the Los Angeles Kings here. They're defensively suffocating, but have been in a recent slide. I want to say they're 5-5 in their last 10, and only one of those 5 wins came against a playoff team. So sort of weighing it out here because, they're not really showing up against the playoff teams because there were 3 losses in a row that I want to say were to, it was us, Vegas, and I believe Colorado. So 3 of the top dogs in the West. Sort of hung around with them, but couldn't get it done in the end. The biggest question for me regarding the Kings is, can Korpisalo be a difference maker? They picked him up at the deadline along with Gavrikov from the Columbus Blue Jackets to sort of bolster the goaltending. And I'm not too sure how much of a difference maker that could be, because in the previous 2 games that Korpisalo has played against Edmonton, he kind of got lit up. I'm not gonna lie here, fellas. So a bit of a question mark. And then also the Kings have Arvidsson and Doughty when they didn't have them last year. So if there's a chance of LA upsetting Edmonton, of course I said that with Chicago and Edmonton, I thought Edmonton would take them in 3 games. If there's a chance of upsetting, I think LA could be a dark horse team, just because the way they play that McClellan style hockey where they trap it up and they're defensively suffocating, that just bodes well in the playoffs. That can get
Always
you pretty
does.
far. Yeah,
Always does. All right, Jared. So I'll let you take the mantle on this one first.
I think the Oilers are going to take it. I'll just start with that. I definitely think the Oilers will take the series, but I think I have the Oilers going far this playoffs, and I think it's going to be the closest series they play. So it'll probably go 7 again. It's a good thing the Oilers have home ice. But yeah, I think McDavid after last year is just going to take it to another. Like, we keep seeing him take it to a new level, even though we're like, he's on, whatever level he's on, it's just different. He's going to take it to another level. Draisaitl's healthy. That's going to be scary. They have a very good team, and they've been really good since the trade deadline. I think it's 16-2-1. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong.
I do believe so. Yeah.
So they've been really good since they got Ekholm. They plugged in spots that they needed to, and I know LA is really good. They're really strong and stingy defensively, but the Oilers just have that overpowering offense, and I think they'll take it in 7.
Yeah. The Oilers will win this series because their power play is at a 32% clip. They score a 1 in 3 power plays. That is absolutely insane. No other. That's got to be one of the most power plays ever.
It's a death sentence.
Right?
I think they broke the record last night for the best power play percentage in league history.
Yeah. Okay. Now the thing is too, right? Another X factor that goes hand in hand with power plays is reffing in the playoffs, right? We know it's drastically different. The Oilers might get less power plays, which could be a massive difference maker. I think on the front end, the Kings are a little bit deeper than the Oilers. You look through their lineup, it's like all their guys have 40 points or something. I was reading an article from Dom Lucic on The Athletic. Quinton Byfield is giving them really decent minutes lately. He's been playing first line left wing, probably a little bit above his pay grade, but he's been playing decent there. They spread the lineup. Guys, Adrian Kempe just scored his 40th goal. Adrian Kempe, 40 goals, right? Trevor Moore, decent player. A lot of these guys are decent. Down the middle, decent players. They had Kevin Fiala in the offseason. Victor Arvidsson, as Matt said. And then at the trade deadline, they got a goalie, right? I know, as Matt said, Edmonton has kind of dominated Korpisalo, but the playoffs, hockey in the playoffs is so weird because it's almost like priors don't matter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can break down all the regular season stats, goals for, goals against, play driving, goaltending, all that stuff. But in hockey, the playoffs are so different. It's called differently. It's slower. It's harder hitting. Goalies tend to play better, or they tend to play way worse. You know what I mean? So it could go either way. But the Oilers' X factor to me, though, Stuart Skinner and Matthias Ekholm. Matthias Ekholm, what a trade from Ken Holland. We discussed this in the last episode. The best acquisition at the trade deadline. That guy has made that team so much better. And you know what he's done especially? He's made Evan Bouchard better. And I think that is such a big difference. Tyson Barrie, cool guy, but he comes with his flaws. Evan Bouchard, I think he's a lot better than Barrie is, and having a guy like Matthias Ekholm, it's a perfect pairing. And I think the Kings, on the Kings, on the other hand, they got Gavrikov. Their defense is deep. I'm extremely excited for the series because it's a redux of last season, but both teams are so much better.
They're so much better. I think a lot of people are not talking about, too, that last year Sean Durzi came in and kind of filled that spot that Doughty left, and now Doughty's there. So, it's going to be a good series. It's going to be fun.
Honestly, yeah. But, fellas, I think my final prediction, though, it's honestly one of the most tough series to pick. I feel like it's so even. I know the Oilers have been on a tear lately, but like I said, playoffs are different, But I have the Oilers going very deep in this playoffs as well. I think their roster is made for it. I think McDavid is ready for it. I think Draisaitl is ready for it. I think they got a goalie, which is what was hindering them. I'm going to take the Edmonton Oilers in 7 games. That's my prediction. Oilers in 7. What about you guys?
I'm also gonna go with the Oilers. Biased opinion, I know. But this time, I think they get this one over quickly. 5 games.
Yeah, 5.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Definitely Oilers in 7. It's going to go the distance.
Yeah, Matt. What makes you think the Oilers are going to dominate so easily?
I just think they'll come out of the gate like balls to the wall in game one. I think they'll win game one. I think LA will take game two, and then Edmonton's a lot better. Sort of regrouping after losses. It doesn't really affect them that much, and then they'll take the remaining 3 games.
I think my favorite thing about this season is Matt's arc as an Oilers fan. Most of this year was him just like being mad at Ken Holland and the Oilers, and then they got Matthias Ekholm, and like shit, if I was him, I'd be fucking amped too. They haven't lost in like 3 months. It feels like so. Matt,
See,
I think the Oilers go deep. I think they go deep, man.
see,
They're a good team.
here's the thing. Like everyone around the league, like people I talk to, like, oh, they're scary. They're like, I don't want to run into them, but like it's the cautious optimism in my head that's like, man, they're gonna crash and burn early. But it's also like I weigh it out. It's like they're gonna crash and burn early, or they're gonna go all the way. Like last year, I thought after game 5 against the Kings, I was like, that's it. Nope, nope, fire everybody. But it's just it's so simple how like a player like Matisse Ekholm can like just calm the nerves and make you actually, feel excited about a hockey
Yeah,
team. Like one, not even McDavid. Nah, he's good and all, but Matisse Ekholm, like I'm a big fan of defensemen,
anchor,
and
actual anchor back there.
like it's ridiculous. Like he just calms every. Like if you're not even on the ice, if you're on the bench and you see him out there, it's like okay, he's got it under control. He's fine.
He's chilling.
He's good. Yeah.
I'm saying that Bouchard Ekholm, that's the pair they run, right? Those two.
Oh, yeah, Ekholm's on the left side. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is a massive X factor. I don't know if the Kings have a lot of good defensemen. I don't know if they can match that pair. And I think Philip Deneau and Anze Kopitar are in for a long series. So yeah, if clean sweep here on the Gritcast, we are all taking the Edmonton Oilers. Matt in 5, me and Darius both in 7. Matt, now we have a little bit of some predictions and nuance here, just because we don't know the exact seedings, but we can still discuss some matchups here. Matt, what do you have going into the next couple series?
Okay, so we have sort of a bunch of wild scenarios, no pun intended. We have the love triangle, or I guess the four-sided love triangle with Dallas, Minnesota, Seattle, and Colorado. I'll sort of break it down here on the standings output. I know this doesn't really matter for those listening afterwards, but Dallas is sitting at 108, Colorado is sitting at 107. Dallas has played all 82. Colorado's got one game left tonight against who is it? Nashville. Yeah, and so if Nashville, I'm not too sure if the tiebreaker, if Colorado gets 1 point. I'm genuinely not too sure on the tiebreaker, but if they get 2 points, they win the Central, and then they will take on the Seattle Kraken. So you know what? Let's go with Colorado, Seattle first. Let's sort of break that down hypothetically here. With Seattle, exceeded expectations for many. I think in the beginning predictions of the year for like the first head coach fired, I think I had Dave Haxtell, and he survived the season.
He did.
He did. I'm not too sure who you guys took, but
I don't remember either.
I took Haxtell.
I don't remember. I want to go find out though.
All right.
I don't remember.
Another question here is Philip Grubauer. Can you provide some support in the crease?
No.
I know they're not really going to go with Martin Jones here. Obviously they want to kind of win or try to win. And then not one large point producer, but it was sort of scoring by committee.
Aaron McCann, 40 goals. That's pretty big.
McCann, Matty Beniers, who seemed to be
Vince
like
Dunn.
a Calder. Vince Dunn, Matty Beniers, Eberle. It's just the Kraken. I don't think they're going to go far, but the playoff, experience for like everybody involved, their first like big run as a group, it'll bode well for the future.
Yeah, and I think in this hypothetical match between Colorado and Seattle, you're looking at a Colorado team that is depleted. Gabriel Landeskog just announced he will not be. The team announced he will not be playing in the playoffs. So his injury, as a guy who took him 3rd round in fantasy this year, it seems like it's pretty severe, and I'm just wishing the best for him in general. But I think Seattle's downfall in this series aside from Colorado having the X factors like Rantanen, McCarr, and McKinnon, is the fact that Alexander Georgiev has been amazing for Colorado this year. He's put up solid numbers, surprising to some. And that guy against Martin Jones, Phil Grubauer, pick whoever you want, not going to be good. I think Colorado in this situation kill Seattle. I don't think it'll be very close. And just depth-wise, I like Vince Dunn. I think he's really good. But when I'm looking at like a Colorado, Josh Manson is fitting great there. He's been amazing, dating back to the last playoff run. And I just think Colorado's better in every way. I think it'll be a fun series for Seattle, like you said. Maybe they can hitch off 2 games because they're a deep team. It's like they have like 4. It's like they have 2 second lines and 2 third lines. So that's a lot of depth there. Daniel Sprong is like a 4th liner who has 20 goals. So it's interesting. They have a lot of depth, but Colorado takes this pretty handily. I'd say 4 or 5 games pretty easily. Darius, what do you think in this situation?
I think even when they're missing, like Seattle, a lot of those guys haven't really been there, Like I think that plays a factor into the playoffs. Colorado's been there. They still have, McKinnon. McCarr's not back yet, right? I don't think. Yeah, so no. I know they're missing some big pieces, but a lot of those guys have been there, and I think they're just a more skilled team, even with the injuries, than Seattle. But I do think it'll probably go 6 or 7. So I'll take it Colorado in 6.
Yeah. Matt, what would you say?
Colorado was such a weird team this year. It almost seemed like they just coasted through the season, and they still have like an opportunity at a division title, which is like sort of speaks to their strengths. But Colorado, it's a sweet Colorado in 4.
Wow.
All right. So the other hypothetical situation would be Colorado versus who, Matt?
The Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
Which was like an old school Northwest Division type playoff series.
For sure. So what do you think of that? Colorado versus Minnesota.
Minnesota. It's been a recurring theme on this show. We have 2 teams that are extremely boring. We'll get to the other boring team in a bit, but Minnesota, outside of like Kaprizov and Boldy and maybe Gustafsson, there's just not much that can sort of propel them to an upset over the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, I think looking at Minnesota, they're a deep team, an old style team. Jared Spurgeon is an elite defenseman. Philip Gustafsson and Marc-Andre Fleury, whoever they start, have both been amazing since January 1st. Gustafsson especially, shout out Pierre Dorian, great trade. Cam Talbot for Phil Gustafsson. That worked out well. Minnesota, I think any team that matches up against Colorado will probably lose in this case. I think Minnesota's a fun team with they're not fun, they have fun players. With Kaprizov and Boldy. I think they're still waiting a little bit for a couple of other guys to come up the ranks, like a Marco Rossi, maybe a Kalen Addison to fill some bigger shoes eventually. I don't think they're in a little bit of a weird situation. They traded Kevin Fiala. They're still really good. Guys like Marcus Foligno, a solid defensive player. He'll probably get a lot of matchups. But I'm saying this all just to say that Colorado's still going to whip their ass if that happens. At the end of the day, similar to if they face Seattle, whenever we're recording this, I do think Colorado takes this in 5, maybe 6 games, because Minnesota does have a little bit of a fight in them, just because I believe their play style welcomes, playoff hockey. Darius, what do you think?
If Minnesota plays Colorado, Minnesota wins in 7.
Shit!
Yeah.
That's bull.
Oh shit! Okay.
I respect.
I like Minnesota way more than, let's say, Seattle. Like Seattle doesn't really have any X factors, in my opinion. Like I know they have McCann that scored 40 goals or whatever, but like I don't know. Minnesota has a couple X factors. They have Kaprizov, good goaltending, like you mentioned, especially the second half of the season, and I kind of like their defense too. Like I just like the way they play. They have Ryan Reeves there, which is a factor in the playoffs. Let's not pretend like it isn't. All right. So I like the Wild.
Hashtag Grit.
Hashtag Gritcast. But I think I like Minnesota over. Now, if Colorado didn't have their injuries, we're having a different conversation. But if that is the matchup, I like Minnesota in 7.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you make that point because it's like McCarr might not be 100%, right? And Landeskog is not playing. No Landeskog at all. And from last year to this year, no Kadri too.
No Kadri.
Who's their second line center? Is it going to be Rantanen?
No, Alex Newhook, no?
Yeah, or GT Comfort. I'm not sure who it'll be.
But then look at the matchup. You know what I mean? Like you're not.
Yeah,
That's not.
I think though they've had Rantanen at center a lot of the season. And in priors because McKinnon was hurt to start the season off. McKinnon has like 100 points in like 66 games, so it's stupid. It was actually insane. But I think Colorado was just too good. They have the experience. Josh Manson, great. Samuel Girard, decent player. Kale McCarr. Devin Tays, like I think you made a point about how good Minnesota's defense is. I think Colorado's is better. At the end of the day,
they won the cup, yeah. So
I would still take Colorado, but honestly, I could see a situation where Minnesota wins. I would just find it very unlikely. But Matt, so now in another situation, who would the Minnesota Wild face in the playoffs?
You got two more hypothetical situations. Say Nashville upsets Colorado tonight. It would be the Minnesota Wild or Seattle Kraken against the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
And now we sort of went over, obviously, Minnesota and Seattle, so we'll sort of talk about the Dallas Stars here. Are we expecting Jake Ottinger to sort of have like his godlike performance in round one, or can he sort of expect like the team to support him here in this situation?
It's hard to replicate that, right? As good as Jake Ottinger was in the playoffs, and he's as good as he's been as he's been this season, that's a hard thing to replicate. I think it's like maybe McDavid could do it, but it's like do you think Connor McDavid's gonna have 160 points every year? It's tough, even though how good he is. So Jake Ottinger, I think he'll still be amazing. You need a rock back there. You always do to do on the playoffs. I think he'll still be amazing. But Dallas, now their roster's not a whole lot different from last year. I feel like I can't really think of any major changes off the top of my head aside from like John Klingberg finally walking out the door. But there's a lot of good players there. Miro Heiskanen's damn good. Jason Robertson, even better than last year, so that guy could be an X factor in this. I think if Seattle plays if Dallas plays Seattle, they win. But if they play Minnesota, they might have a tougher time here. Darius, what are you thinking?
I think like Seattle's the weakest of the potential opponents.
Of these four.
Yeah.
Of these four teams,
definitely. So I feel like they're getting the short end of the stick a lot. So like to make it short and sweet, like I like Dallas over Seattle definitely, and I don't think anyone would agree. Dallas is a heavier team. They're a slower team and more boring team, but that's a different conversation. But they've played better this year than last year, I think, and they took Calgary to 7 last year with Ottinger standing on his head. I think there is something to be said about the way goalies play in the playoffs. Like, he's going to play well. Like, we can't discount that. Like, he's going to have a good series no matter who they play. I still think I like the Wild over Dallas, if that is the scenario, but definitely Dallas over Seattle.
Out of these four teams, I think the only one that Minnesota wouldn't beat is Colorado. So I'm gonna go Minnesota over Dallas, but Dallas over Seattle if that happens. And then in the amount of games, Minnesota over Dallas. I think it'd be a quick series. It could be either 5 or 6.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so. I think so because Dallas, I don't know, their record.
Here's my thing. What makes Dallas or Minnesota so much better than Dallas? I don't think a lot.
It's playoff hockey.
It's
like
the
everything
type of hockey they play.
It's the type of hockey.
But you're trying to tell me Minnesota doesn't also play that boring, heavy hitting type of hockey?
They do, but I think they're more exciting than Dallas, in my opinion. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So but I'm saying like I think I think it would be close. I'm just pushing back here. I'm being devil's advocate. I think Dallas and Minnesota are very similar teams where the series wouldn't be too quick. You're looking at two of the best goalies in the regular season, Philip Gustafsson and Jake Ottinger. Phil Gustafsson hasn't proved anything in the playoffs yet. Like let that be said. I don't know who they're going to start. Marc-Andre Fleury, proven playoff starter. It seems like Ty always goes to the veteran, right? In hockey. So Marc-Andre Fleury might get the start. And he's proven in the playoffs, obviously. But I'm trying to think. My only thing about Dallas is I'm trying to think about like their defensive core. I also think they have a couple guys there. Like I think Jamie Benn had a decent season. Rupe Hintz had a decent season. Joe Pavelski's still playing good, and their rookie Wyatt Johnson, he's been great this season. He's been amazing. But Minnesota, on the other hand, I think their defense is a little better. Kaprizov is a complete X factor. You can argue on what tier of superstar Jason Robertson is on, but I can tell you Kirill Kaprizov is probably a tier above that.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a close season. But Matt, sorry. Get back to what you're saying.
Every so often, Minnesota, like, they're not good enough to make a deep run, but they're annoying enough to play spoiler. Like
Right.
that's the thing about Minnesota. It's well, they're not cup contenders, but there's always like a cup favorite, and Minnesota takes them out. It's like that should not have happened, and I think that's what happens with Dallas this year. Not saying Dallas is a cup contender, but I mean, if they win the division, right, you're sort of expecting them to go far in this case. But no, I think yeah, Minnesota over Dallas. I'm not too sure on the amount of games. I said 5 or 6. I'm still like teeter-tottering, but I think it'll be 6.
Okay, true. I will give my official prediction. So, I think Okay, can you tell me what the matchups again? I'm so confused. Like,
Okay, so it'd be Dallas against either Minnesota or Seattle.
Okay, hold on. Let me. So Dallas versus Seattle. I think Dallas will take it. Probably in 6. I think that series will go deep, just the way that both teams play. I think all these series, except for maybe Colorado, Seattle, would go pretty deep. Because I feel like they all play the same. You know what I mean? Heavy hitting. Seattle doesn't really have that guy, but they kind of play a really team oriented style. Whereas I think Dallas has Jason Robertson and Minnesota's Kirill Kaprizov. So I think Dallas will be
See,
pretty good.
I think Seattle is sort of like a poor man's Carolina, where there's no one main guy. It's just a whole bunch of them sort of banding together, and then that's how they win games.
Yeah.
And because they literally do not have a goalie. But Matt,
No.
Okay, let's do this officially. Read each series, and we'll give our predictions after you say the series.
Okay, so the hypothetical. So first, Dallas and Minnesota.
Dallas, Minnesota. I will take. I think I would take the Dallas Stars in 7 games.
Okay, I would go Minnesota in 6.
Minnesota
Serious?
in 6.
Okay.
Okay, and the other hypothetical, bunch of hypotheticals. This is what Colorado gets for not losing to Winnipeg last night, and this could have made recording a whole lot easier.
It's awful. It's awful. It's so awful.
Terrible. Okay, and then Dallas and Seattle.
Dallas in probably 6 games.
Dallas in 5.
Dallas in 5. Okay, and then Colorado and Minnesota.
Ooh.
Minnesota in 7.
Right.
Yeah, man.
David said that.
Colorado in 6.
I believe I also said Colorado in 6.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I will say, just a little disclaimer, like, that was like, it's awful to try and record this when all the matches aren't set, but there's no time. The playoffs start Monday.
Can I just say?
You know what I mean?
Can I just say, hey NHL, let's end the season
Your
on the same
playoff
day.
format sucks.
Yeah, that too. And let's end the season like all at the same time. How about that?
Like
why
the
are
World
there
Cup.
2 games tonight?
Yeah, like, what's the point of that? What's the point of just throwing 2 games on
Like,
the
why
last
didn't
night
you
of
put
the
them?
season?
Why weren't they last night? Like, what do we? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here.
So
NHL,
it would sort of avoid collusion, like how they do in the World Cup when all the the same group stage games.
Yeah, they have to play
start at the
at the same
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. To sort of, I'm not saying there'd be like collusion with Dallas because obviously both teams would want to win. Because I mean, the division winner gets Seattle. But it's so frustrating. Like, come on, NHL, fix your playoff format.
Like this
Fix
is
your shit, man.
no, this is the thing too. Like, it makes it harder for content creators, and those are people that help your league grow. I'm not saying we help the league grow because we're just 3 idiots on a podcast, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. But Darius, we're gonna move on to a conference where the matchups are actually all set. So Darius, what's the first matchup that you want? I think we should save the least for last. But what's the first matchup you want?
We're gonna save the least for last. We'll do that.
Buddy got the easier conference.
Yeah, good job. You know what? Round of applause for Matt. Round of applause.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Thank you.
I had to read that shit off, fellas. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's fine. I mean, I gave you the West because you cheer for a Western Conference team. I give Darius the East.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for me to do the West. You know, like I'd just be like,
nobody
sure.
want to talk. Matt's the only guy who wants to talk about Minnesota, Dallas, and Seattle. Anyway. All right, Darius, what's the first matchup you want to dive into?
So we'll dive into the obvious, like. Number 1, Boston Bruins, right? Historic season. They finished with 65 wins, which is stupid. That's stupid.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they set the record for most points in a season with 135, which is also stupid. You know, undisputed best team in the league by far, okay? And they're going up against the Florida Panthers, the second wild card team. I was really banking on the Islanders.
I needed it to be the Islanders.
I was really hoping it would be the Islanders because I feel like this would go a very different way, honestly. So yeah, Florida squeaks in for some reason. I don't know why they were trying so hard. They didn't really do much at the deadline. I think they're a lot slower than last year. I think I like Tkachuk, obviously, like playoff player, and he had an amazing season on a team that isn't what they were. So I think that was obviously like really good season for him. But again, I think Florida took a step back, and obviously they're playing the Bruins. There's not much to be said. Like, we know how good the Bruins are. But so yeah, I think the Bruins take it in 5. I was really hoping that it would be a different matchup, but I don't know what you guys think. I just think the Bruins this is not a good matchup. Like, the Bruins are a lot better at everything that Florida is good at. So I think it's Bruins in 5.
The Bruins are just unfair. Like, they could be down 2 goals heading to the third, and you already know they're going to win. Like, it's ridiculous how good like that leadership group is so good at like getting the energy back into the room, and then they score like 3 quick goals, like ridiculous. So Bruins in a sweep that's not even going to be close at all.
I do want to let's push back a little bit, fellas, just because for content we should. The Florida Panthers, they lose pretty quickly. I'm gonna try my best here, but they to their credit, they have some guys, bro. They do have some guys. Matthew Tkachuk, best season of his career, been amazing. MVP level candidate. Obviously, McDavid wins it, but MVP level candidate. Alex Barkov been great. Carter Verhaeghe, 40+ goal scorer. Mm-hmm. Anthony Duclair came back. They got some reinforcements. They didn't really They didn't really do anything at the deadline because they couldn't, because they traded everything last year. But back in, you got Aaron Ekblad. Brandon Montour, been amazing this season. Elite level point production for some reason. And Radko Gudas, that guy, does stuff in the playoffs because with the way he plays. And then in net, fellas, my question. Alex Lyon or Sergei Bobrovsky in game 1?
Alex Lyon. 100%. He's playing better.
You got to go Lyon.
Yeah, he's playing better.
Alex Lyon, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be stupid to go to Bobrovsky based on name. Like,
yeah, but the NHL loves doing that. They love doing that.
I know. And yeah, I don't know. No, but I think they got to be smarter than that. Come on. Like, at least give yourself a chance, Like,
and Paul Maurice is not going to win a playoff series against who is it, Jim Montgomery? That's not happening.
That's not happening.
So here's a question: how quickly into game 1 do Tkachuk and Marchand mix it up, or do they avoid each other?
Oh no, it's going off. It's popping off quick. Kachuk's getting in there immediately. Oh yeah.
They gotta set a precedent. Yeah, I think because y'all seen that Redeem Team clip where like Kobe Bryant is talking to LeBron and like Melo and like Dwayne Wade. He's like, when I see Pau Gasol, I'm fucking running through him. Right? yeah. To set a precedent. I think Florida knows they're in tough and they're the underdogs. So what they're gonna have to do is they're going to have to set a precedent when that game starts. That they're, they may be the underdogs. They may be worse. They may have worse offense, worse defense, worse goaltending. Just be worse than everything else. But you know what? They're not fucking around. So I think Florida has to go in there and prove that, they might lose. They might get killed. But they're not fucking around.
No,
okay,
I'm leaving here with something.
You hit the nail on the head. Like, when they get into that dressing room, they're going to be like, hey, guys, so we're playing the best team ever, by the way, right? So Tkachuk is going to be like, well, this is their last dance, basically, because, like, a bunch of them, like, Bergeron's done, right? Like, this is their last chance with this group, I think.
Their last real run.
Yes, the last has to be, right? And so in Tkachuk's head, he's going to be like, I'm running through Allmark immediately. Like, the puck drops, and I'm going to take out his legs. Like,
and then you have Jeremy Swayman, who's, like, a little bit worse.
Yeah, I know. But you know what I mean. Like, he's going to get in there, and he's going to be... Like, obviously he's trying to score, but I think the antics are going to be right.
I think Florida has to. I think
they have to get in there immediately.
Yeah, they have to set a precedent because the Bruins are good. And you know what the problem is? The Bruins, they can match the antics. They're built like that too. They added Dmitry Orlov and Tyler Bertuzzi, and like no one's talking about it.
And Hathaway.
Garnet Hathaway too. They have I'm thinking about their line like Taylor Hall. Patrice Bergeron, David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Tyler Bertuzzi, and then on defense, Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm. Who the heck matches that?
Yeah.
Brandon Carlo, Matt Grzelcyk, Dmitry Orlov, in net, Linus Ullmark. Like, the Panthers are going to be in for a fight, and they have to fight. Like, there's going to be 2 games going on. The game in your mind and the game on the ice in this game. And with all that being said, the Bruins are going to kill them in 5 games. All right, what'd you say, Matt? You said it's a sweep?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, clean sweep by the Bruins on the Gritcast here. Darius, what's the next series?
All right, so we're going to skip one because we're going to save it for last. So we'll skip all the way down here to the Carolina Hurricanes playing the New York Islanders. And can I just say that I was really hoping the Islanders would play the Bruins, man, because I feel like that would go the opposite way. I'm not joking.
And also, I think Carolina, Florida, and Boston, New York just makes for better TV. Like Carolina and Florida, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Like, those potential
Carolina,
matchups
Florida,
are way better.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
And Carolina, Florida would have been a much more fun of a watch just because of all the players in it.
Yes.
And I think Boston Islanders, just because of the nuance, would have been a lot more
more fun to watch. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
But anyways, let's dive into what we have.
Yeah. So the Hurricanes, obviously. So I think there's a couple wild cards too, where their goaltending is not what we thought it was going to be at the. Not saying it's a bad thing, but obviously it's shaped out much differently than we thought it would be at the beginning of the year. They had a great season. They're missing Max Pacioretty, obviously out again with injury. I think he might be done. They're missing Svechnikov for the whole playoffs. That's another wild card. And I really do like the Islanders on the other end. Like, if I'm going to, do this hot take right away, I think the Islanders are winning this series. I know Carolina's had a really good year, but a lot of people like to, mouth off about the Leafs and all this stuff about, they're choking and stuff. Carolina has never showed us that they're ready for primetime, ever, in this whole, I don't know, how long have they had this group together? Like 7 years maybe, let's say 6-7 years. They've never shown that they're ready for primetime. So I like the Islanders in this series. They got Barzal back, it looks like, for game 1. So that should be good. They have the edge in goaltending, I think. The style of play that they play, I think they can suffocate the Hurricanes. And I don't think that Hurricanes have an X factor. We've talked about it, and the only guy who comes close is not going to play in the playoffs. So I think the Islanders take this series.
The Islanders are getting Matthew Barzal back to start the series. He's playing game 1.
Yep.
I believe you said it earlier this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why my camera's made me look orange now, but whatever. I think the X factor in this series, I don't know. I'm sorry, Darius. I kind of zoned out when you were talking. Like, I'm just being completely honest.
I did mention the Barzal thing, so you didn't mention it again. But anyway, yeah, what's the X factor?
Okay. Ilya Sorokin.
Yes.
Very easily. Really, very easy, as you said. I did hear a little bit of what you said. Carolina's goaltending, as you said, not what you thought. We thought they had Coochie Man in there earlier in the season. And now Freddie Anderson. I don't know how he's been. There hasn't really been a big topic of discussion. But you're losing Andrei Svechnikov, like you said. He's not playing. And the Islanders, they're fucking ready to fight. They added Bo Horvat. Their defense is good. A guy like Noah Dobson, solid player. Up front, a lot of good guys. They traded for Pierre Engvall, big out at the deadline.
Huge.
And I think the Islanders, they're built for playoff hockey. The storyline on the Islanders, the storyline for the Islanders is always, in the regular season, they're not that great, but man, if they get in, they're in. But Carolina, super deep. Jesperi Kotkaniemi seems to finally found his stride as a second line center. Took him long enough, but he's still. It always feels like that guy's a lot older than he is because he came in the league at like 18. But he's only 22 now, maybe. So there's a lot going on, and they added Jesse Puljujarvi, who unfortunately hasn't done anything in Carolina, which I'm sad about personally. But I think it'll be close. I think Sorokin will propel the Islanders past the Hurricanes here. I'm gonna take the Islanders in 7 games. Matt, what do you think?
It's going 7 games, and at the beginning of the year, I had Carolina going to the Cup final, and I'm sticking by that. Carolina in 7 games.
Oh,
okay.
There's just something about the Canes that makes me think like every year they have the opportunity to go deep, and they're gonna break through one of these years, like the Washington effect, where they kept running into that brick wall and then they broke through. This is the year that they break through. Canes in 7.
I think that effect that you just mentioned is reserved for a different team in these playoffs, and we'll get to that. So I'm going to take the Islanders in 7. I don't think the Hurricanes are ready for primetime, honestly. They've never shown it to me, and nobody's ever talked about that. But I mean, at the end of the day, they do have a great coach, but I think at the game they're going to play, I think the Islanders are better at that game than the Hurricanes, like not having an X factor and kind of scoring by committee. And they have Barzal coming back and Horvat. Like those are like they squeaked in. That's all anybody's like really looking at. But now that they're in the playoffs, they're gonna make some noise.
Yeah, like I said, Ilya Sorokin. I'd argue he's a top 3 goalie this year. To me, it's Allmark Hellebuck, Allmark Hellebuck Sorokin. I think Sorokin is so much better than Freddie Anderson, whoever the hell they're gonna throw out there, especially in the playoffs. Freddie Anderson sucks, but I think Sorokin. At the end of this day, when the series is over, and yeah, I think the Islanders take it in 7. People are gonna look at Sorokin's series and be like, "Damn, that guy's him." You know, I think it's gonna be his coming out party to say. But so official predictions. Islanders in 7 for me. Matt, you said Hurricanes in 7. Darius, sorry, I missed what you said.
I'll say Islanders in 6. Just for the shits and giggles.
Two of us are taking the underdogs in this series on the Gritcast. 2 for the Islanders, 1 for Hurricanes. Darius, the second last series here. What is it?
I think this is one of the most
exciting ones.
This is going to be the most exciting in terms of like just speed and skill on display. Like I don't think there's going to be too many like antics. It has the potential to get really out of hand, but I think in terms of speed and skill, it's going to be the most fun. New Jersey Devils, home ice advantage over the New York Rangers. Holy shit. Where did the New Jersey Devils come from? Jack Hughes breaking records and shit, even though those records were, dead puck era and shit. So obviously they're gonna break records. But he is a bona fide superstar now. And
stud.
Absolute stud. I love their defense. Luke Hughes could make it into the playoffs, and if he does,
I think he easily does.
He is an absolute X factor that there's no scouting report on. He looks great. We all knew he was coming, right? And that he looks great, but just the fact that he's here and he scored his first goal already last night, he looks really good.
It was a nice goal too.
It was a really nice goal. Their goaltending, I'm not complaining about that. They look good, and up front they're pretty heavy. I like their 4th line. Very biased, Mississauga Steelheads. Nathan Basham, Mike McLeod on the 4th line. They added Palat. Been there, done that with the Lightning. I really like the team. They're fast, they're skilled, and they're hard-nosed. Yeah.
Did you even talk about Timo Meier?
No, and here's the reason. Because he hasn't been an X factor, but I think he has the potential to be, but I haven't seen it out of him. So I'm focusing on the parts that would probably be an X factor because I don't think he's acclimated into their system that well.
I think when the playoffs start, I think he's a playoff type of player too. He's a heavy guy. He's a heavy guy.
Yeah, big,
I know. Yeah. He came and developed in the skill era, like the skill finesse era. But that guy's a heavy player and he's big. I think the Devils are so deep, but the Rangers, they got Patrick Kane. They have
Tarasenko.
They have Patrick Showtime Kane. Now, also, a lot of nuance on Patrick Kane. We'll see what he does in the playoffs. He's been okay with the Rangers. Been all right. Definitely better than he was in Chicago. It's gonna be a fight, man. These rosters are so fun, so deep, so exciting. I think a lot of it comes down to Igor Shesterkin versus Vitek Vanacek, because Vanacek is not an experienced goalie. He doesn't have a history of being this good ever. And Shesterkin, that guy's gone far in the playoffs already. He has a history of being really good. And a lot of hockey comes down to your goalies, but I think especially in this series because I feel like both teams are deep up front. I think the Devils have the edge defensively. When you go player by player, you can have Dougie Hamilton, Damon Severson, Jonas Siegenthaler, John Marino, and they added Luke Hughes. I think that guy definitely gets playing time versus Jacob Trouba, Keandre Miller, Adam Fox,
Ben Harper.
Nico Mikola, Ben Harper. So I think they have the edge there. But I think forward, it's even. Defense, give it to the Devils, and goaltend, you give to the Rangers.
Absolutely.
So I think it's gonna be a great matchup, but I will say I'm taking the young New Jersey Devils in 7 games. Taking the young New Jersey Devils in 7 games. I think Timo Meier is gonna have a series, fellas. What do you think, Matt?
It's gonna be the Rangers in 6. I think Shesterkin goes off this series. Like the Devils will throw everything at him, and he just turns it aside, except for 2 games where the Rangers would lose. But no, this is going to be a Shesterkin party through and through.
I think it's going to be one of the most exciting. It's going to be the most exciting series in the playoffs, most definitely. The speed, the skill is going to be off the charts. Patrick Kane, Showtime Patrick Kane at MSG. It's going to be electric. He's going to come out. He's going to perform because you don't know what happens next year for him. The Devils, their offensive, star power, it's going to be, on full display. But I will say Rangers in 6. They've been there and they've done that.
Rangers in 6. Okay. So on the Gritcast, I have Devils in 7, and the other 2 guys, Rangers in 6. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting series in a long time. Well, you know what else I think is going to be an exciting series?
Oh, baby.
Darius, tell me about what's going to be the
It's
next
time.
It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the bum Tampa Bay Lightning are taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. The Leafs get home ice advantage again. The Lightning got to start the playoffs on the road because they couldn't even get 100 points this year. Bums. You know what I'm saying?
Bums.
The Lightning this series, I'm scared. All right? I'm scared because the Lightning look like they should lose. Okay? And that's why I'm scared.
Here, Darius, let me tell you why I'm scared. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm scared for the Lightning because the Leafs are going to come out and fucking kill them. They're going to fucking kill them. I cannot wait. I'm with Matt. I don't know if it's going to be 5 games like his prediction said in the last episode, but I think, dude, I don't know how close it's going to be. This is one of I never have confidence in the Leafs. Last year I didn't have confidence in them. This year I don't know, man. Tampa, they're a little bit on the ropes. They have the 23rd best or I guess 23rd worst, depending on how you look at it, record in the league after the All-Star break. Of course, everyone's like, oh, with Tampa, they're going to close to the regular season. They're going to do this. I don't give a flying fuck
No, they're trying to
about
win.
any of that shit. I don't give a shit, okay, about any of this bullshit. The Leafs are going to come out. They added Ryan O'Reilly. They added Luke Shen. They added fucking Sam Lafferty. Sure, I'll mention him too. They added Jake McCabe. They added fucking Matthew Nyes is playing great. I think the Leafs come out and they fucking take this serious, fellas. Talked about Austin Matthews. They randomly against the Oilers that one game where he decided he's an MVP again. He's been playing amazing ever since. Mitch Marner, 99 points, shot at 100, but he didn't. William Nylander, he scored 40 goals. John Tavares, 30 plus goals. Kelly Harcroft scored 20 goals. I don't know. I can't see a scenario where the Leafs lose the series. Ilya Samsonov, super consistent the whole year. He's been amazing. Backstopping way better than Jack Campbell last year. Matt, what do you think about this series, man? What do you think?
You know my thoughts on it already. Leafs in 5. Leafs in 5. It's not so much. It's like the amount of pressure. This series is like a shaken up bottle of Coke. It's gonna pop off, and you know it's gonna erupt, and the Leafs. Like I said, the pressure, it's getting to them. This is the year where they slay the dragon and go on to the second round to face the Boston Bruins.
Yes, sir. I would not have it any other way. I would not have it any other way. But I think what's great about it is the Leafs have built a roster where they're not going to take shit anymore. Okay, so last year, they're super skilled. The bottom 6. Oh, look at this. They're supposed to score. Never fucking scored. Ilya McKay appearing well. They didn't do shit. Now this year, look at their bottom 6, man. They have a random assortment of guys who just run through people. Zach Aston Reese. You have Noah Chari, been amazing. You have Alex Kerfoot, who's going to look good in that third line, I think. David Kamp's been amazing. I think Q seems really confident in Matthew Nyes, man. So I don't know if he gets.
I think he ends up playing. I think they're going to give him some rope to start. And if it's he can't hang, they take him out. But I think he's looked good.
He would be a reason why the Leafs will lose a game in this series. So
yes, yeah. Which is why I think you keep the leash kind of short, right? But
yeah,
he looks good.
guys, the Leafs second line recently has been John Tavares, Ryan O'Reilly, and William Nylander. That's their second line. And I think the Leafs are going to be a matchup nightmare. Although I think John Cooper is really smart, but I'm looking at their first line. Braden Point scored 50 goals. Kucherov's had an amazing season. Stamkos had an amazing season. I like Matthews and Marner more than any duo Tampa could put together. personally. I think they're better than Kucherov and Point, Matthews and Marner. And I think our second line kills their second line. Credit to Brandon Hagel. He scored 30 goals yesterday. Good player. But the X factor here to me, two things for Tampa Bay. Victor Hedman and Andre Vasilevsky. Because last year when we played Andre Vasilevsky, he didn't look that great. And we still lost. One of the Andre Vasilevsky has 2 shit series in a row. You could also say maybe the Leafs are just that good. They're just that good. But Andre Vasilevsky also that good. Victor Hedman has had a lackluster season. But he's been known in the playoffs to become just a god, reach another level. But I think the Leafs have a lot of guys. They don't have a number one guy, but I think this year they're going to shelter Morgan Riley with Luke Shen, give him that little anchor on the right side. He's not going to Morgan Riley should not touch the ice against Kucherov and Coke, so get dominated. But I think you have one of the best shutdown players in the league in Jake McCabe and TJ Brody. I think those guys with the Matthews line matching them against Kucherov, it's going to be crazy. I cannot like envision a scenario where the Leafs lose. I just can't. I think they're better in every way except goaltending, which is a major X factor. But what else would you guys like to dive into?
Hey, what year is this? Because I heard that against Montreal. That's why I'm scared. That's the only reason why I'm scared. And I think another huge X factor, honestly, the only reason on paper, that the Leafs will lose this series is if they take a bajillion penalties. Because Tampa's power play sucks, but I think the whole bunting thing is a thing, okay? Which is crazy.
Oh, that was ridiculous the other night.
Where they just pull him out of the scrum.
The scrum, and then they went after two bolts went after Tavares, and bunting
right away.
Just
they didn't even do anything. He's just grabbing the guy to separate, right? And they pull bunting.
It's a normal scrum.
It's
normal
wild.
Scrum.
It's wild. Do your
They're
job.
Out to get
do
him.
your job.
They're out to get him.
100%. Yeah. It's embarrassing, honestly. When you watch it, it's like it's embarrassing. Do your
even
job.
Even from a neutral viewpoint, that's stupid.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah,
It's dumb. It's dumb. It kills the game. It's so dumb. But yeah, I don't know. I'm nervous coming into it, but on paper, logically thinking, which is something you cannot do very often with the Leafs, they should win this series in 5 or 6. They should absolutely dominate. Tanner Jeannot is hurt now. I don't think if Maroon ever returned to the Leaf game. I don't know if he played last night. So those are a couple X factors too. But
Tanner Jeannot was supposed to be a really big part of their bottom 6 when the playoffs start. And I don't. It sounds like he's in question to play for that first round series. And dude, I think the Leafs are much different this year because last year, who was their big deadline acquisition?
I can't even remember.
Mark Giordano, right?
Yeah.
And this year, guess who they still have? Mark Giordano. You know who else they have? Ryan O'Reilly.
Jake
you know who else
McCabe.
they have? Jake McCabe. So
better goaltending.
Yep. This Leafs team is heavier. They play harder. There was a quote from with Nylander where they asked him how good he felt the season and what you've accomplished. He literally said, "I don't care until we fucking win."
Yeah.
So
that's
I don't
their
know.
mindset.
Matthews,
that's a good mindset too. Just win.
Matthews has turned it on since it seemed like he kind of coasted through the regular season. He was like, all right, let's go here. He's been amazing. Marner has been amazing. Tavares has been great. There's no player where I'm like, yo, ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm amped for the playoffs. I'm confident in the Leafs this year. There's always there's those demons that they could lose. Don't get me wrong. I'm super confident, but I also think they could lose because it's Tampa Bay. They have a ton of history of being one of the greatest teams in the past 5 years.
Yep.
So there's no reason to bet against them. But the Leafs, I think it's time. And I will pick the Leafs. I think the Leafs are taking the series in 6 games. What do you guys think? Matt you said Leafs in 5. We don't need to go over that again. 5. Darius, what do you think?
Instead of play. I think, honestly, they're going to go up 3-1, the Leafs. And they'll lose at home, game 5. And they'll slay the dragon in Tampa. They'll do it. And I think there's something to be said, and I've talked to my friends about this. Mentally, if they get over this hump, watch out, bro. I saw
this team is so good.
I saw it with the Raptors. I saw it with the Raptors. Who did it last year? Not last year. Washington Capitals. You get over that hump that you've been stuck at for that many years, sky's the limit, bro. Like, watch out for that team.
Yep.
That would be so.
Yep.
If they lock in mentally after getting over that hump, watch out. Like, honestly, every team, watch out.
I think the Leafs, top to bottom on paper, are arguably the best assembled roster in the league. I'm just like with all their
people
depth.
don't give them credit, but they are.
Yeah, because Matthews, Marner, William Nylander. The Tampa Bay does not have a William Nylander or anyone close to that.
No.
Like you can argue Kucherov, Point, and Stamkos are like, you have Tavares, Marner, and Matthews, but they don't have Nylander scored 40 goals. They don't have that, or they don't even have. We don't know how good Ryan O'Reilly's going to be in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and he looks like he's going to be good. I also think Matthew Nyes on that third line, if he gets minutes, completely different dynamic. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's young. What's he going to do?" He's not Nick Robertson. He's not like 5'11" or whatever. He's not small. He's 6'3". He's massive.
Yep.
He has an NHL body. I think that guy plays. I think Matthew Nyes plays.
He'll start.
Yeah,
he's gonna start.
Yeah,
and they'll see what he does, how he fits. If he takes a couple penalties, because he's taken a couple penalties in the last few games. So if he can't hang, they will very quickly, pull the leash and he'll be out.
They have depth. They have the depth,
which is fine because then they'll have whoever come in and it's fine. Lafferty, whatever, great. Woo.
Yeah,
but
so
he'll start.
Yeah. And on the Gritcast, we have the Leafs getting over the hump. And if it goes to 7, we'll see what happens. But six games for me and Darius, 5 games for Matt. But guys, before we get out of here, I want to talk about one team that didn't make the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Penguins, the longest streak in the NHL currently ended, and now the Leafs and the Bruins have the longest streak.
Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But yes, I think it was Crosby and Ovechkin have both not been in the playoffs since like 2006.
It's never happened, I don't think. Or maybe Crosby's first year.
Crosby's first year.
The lockout,
the
year after the lockout. You're right. Yeah.
Ever since then, both of them in the playoffs. This year, they have missed, and they've just this morning they fired everyone. Guys, what went wrong in Pittsburgh? Quickly.
This is a slow burn, dude.
We've been going at this for an hour, so I just felt like it's an important topic to go at here.
Yeah.
But what happened in Pittsburgh?
It was just the lack of asset management. That's my short and simple answer.
I think they had a window that they passed quite some time ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, right after they won those cups, and the contracts of some of these guys came up, and they should have moved them or not re-signed them, and now they're stuck with a very
They should have let Malkin go. I think that's what they should have.
They should have let 1 or 2 of the older guys go. Like Crosby's gonna stay, so it would be one of the 2 other guys or 3 guys. And they should have started shedding like some time ago, so it wouldn't be as bad, or they're not like 1 point out of the playoffs and in this like dead zone. But it's been a slow build, like very poor asset management. They're an old team, and I don't know where they go from here because they just fired everyone.
Apparently, their plan is to make their team a massive analytics department, and rumors are they want to give Kyle Dubas an overview over hockey ops, like the entire thing, instead of just being a GM. So we'll see what happens there. But I think with Pittsburgh, the problem is nostalgia is important in sport, loyalty is important in sport. I think you keep Letang because he was fucking awesome this season. Crosby was awesome this season. I think Malkin was also good, but at some point,
you got to start building for the future.
Because they've re-signed everyone. They kept Jeff Carter, God knows why. They gave him like a 2-year extension. They kept Malkin. They kept Brian Rust. They extended Rickard Rakell. They kept Crosby, and they kept Letang, right? And then for some reason they traded Mike Matheson for old ass Jeff Petrie.
Yeah.
And then they traded John Marino, who was good for them, for Ty Smith, who's not even an NHL player, which makes no sense.
And I think they were trying to trade Zucker, and that fell through. So now they're just stuck with them. And they went
their
out
acquisition,
and added
Mikhail Granlund
and
Mikhail Granlund, they're both mid.
Yeah, like they're not.
And they wanted to trade for JT Miller, and I think they should have done it because listen, they're already fucked. They're already fucked, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck it. You know what I mean? You may as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Penguins, their bottom 6 also did fuck all this season. They literally did nothing. So that's what happens. One thing Jim Rutherford did a lot every season was acquire new bottom 6 players. This year the Penguins got Nick Bonino. Like, are we serious?
Are we serious
Nick
with
Bonino?
that? And they let go of Kapanen, who clearly wasn't working, and then he went to St. Louis and started scoring. Make it make sense.
Yeah. So it's yeah, the Penguins. And then on the other side, Calgary quickly. I think Daryl Sutter has to go there. Especially when Jonathan Huberdeau goes from having like 150 points to having like 65. They have to get a coach that makes Jonathan Huberdeau elite, because otherwise that is a waste of money. So I don't know if you guys have anything to add on Colorado, or sorry, Calgary.
I'm here for Calgary's downfall.
Matt's just eating, bro. He loves this. Yeah.
I'm loving it so much. McDavid broke that franchise, and I'm not ashamed to say that.
Yeah, Sutter was not a very good idea when he was hired, and it is.
See, it was just trying to fall back on the 2004 nostalgia. It's like, hey, he got this ragtag group of players to the Cup final. Let's bring him back and see if he can do it again.
Yeah, let's give him a better roster to ruin. That's a great idea.
That's how far down Calgary is.
And I'm pretty sure it's on record. Like players, then Alan Walsh too come out and be like, "Yo, everyone's depressed." Like
I would be too if I lived in Calgary.
Well, yeah. For sure. Look at Calgary's roster. Look at Calgary's roster. They should not have missed the playoffs.
No, they should have been one of the top teams.
For some reason, Jacob Markstrom is broken. Like to say he's a shell of his former self is like a compliment, because he's like far much more than that.
He started to put it together really late in the season, but it was too late.
They also have that prospect that's supposed to be really good. So he's coming
Dustin Wolf?
Yeah, Dustin Wolf. Yeah. So he might be coming in and sharing some time with Markstrom next couple of years, but they should be good right now. Like, I know he's on the way. That's a good, thing for the future, but they should have been one of the top teams in the league.
Yeah, for sure. But fellas, on that note, we are gonna wrap because there is a fucking tornado happening outside or something. I don't know what's going on. But,
that's very low key.
Yeah.
I've heard police sirens. I've heard a loud ass. It might be a garbage truck. I don't know what's going on out there. But I have to keep my window open because, like I said, it's 30 degrees in this apartment, and sitting here for a long time, there's a lot of sweat building in a lot of places. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. But fellas, on that note, thank you guys all for listening, watching, doing all that fun stuff. Subscribe, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Shout out to Matt for paying for the Zoom account all regular season. This is our first playoffs as a podcast. Shout out to Darius for producing the podcast all regular season. And shout out to me. I think today was a lot of fun because we shared the content reins. I still felt like, I hosted a little bit. I think this was a more dynamic episode. I hope the viewers also felt that. But guys, no rap question today. I'm sorry. It's the end of an era, but because I do want to get out of here. But I will say, guys, if you're listening to this in the day, have a great day. If you're listening to this at night, have a great night. And if you're listening to this while driving, always drive safe. Go Leafs, go. Leafs in 6, baby.
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.